And the winner of the 2013 New South Wales Business Owner Award is Jennifer Wray.
This is so incredible. It's unbelievable. The bottom line is that I was a little country kid who grew up in country South Australia. I always tell people that the reason I've got such a strong constitution is because I was always worm infested, and in fact I had such bad ringworms when I was 8 that I had my head shaved. And one of my father's friends actually said, well, she always had awful hair anyway, so it didn't matter. Anyway, I started my practice. I've been a country GP for 40 years, and I just love my job. I started off as a solo GP, as a one-man band where I did everything, including the cleaning and the bookwork, helped by Jock. But I did that for a long time until in the year 1999, I found myself back in solo practice and decided to establish a teaching practice. So I now have a practice in Narooma, which is a teaching practice and a group practice. I have a satellite practice in Bermagui, which actually services a town which had no GPs at all. And at the beginning of next year, we're actually going to be putting our doctors into the local Aboriginal Medical Service, which is a really wonderful thing. Now, last night at the briefing, we were actually told that it was a really wonderful thing if we could tell a story that really explained what we're about. So, with the family's permission, I'm going to tell you Cheryl's story. Cheryl was a woman of my age who lived in my town and was a patient of mine and was diagnosed with motor neurone disease about 2 years ago. And you may or may not know, but motor neurone disease is a degenerative disorder which affects various parts of the bodies. And Cheryl's was particularly aggressive in that it affected her speech initially. She lost her speech completely and had to rely on writing things down. And it also affected her swallowing. Well, probably about 5 or 6 weeks ago, I was called around to do a house visit, and it appeared that Cheryl had an episode the night before of choking. And so she and I sat down quietly in her house, which overlooks the water, which we're all lucky enough in the room to mostly have, and had the very difficult conversation that this is the end of the road. This is the time that we'd actually made the plan for, and that one day we'd actually have to come to the point of what we were going to do when this happened. And she was very accepting, and she decided that she didn't want to actually do anything. She'd just carry on for a couple of days until she could actually gather her family around her, which she did, and they came from all over the world to be with her. And so on the Friday night, we went up and started the process of dying with dignity. And we put up an infusion pump, and I went back. I had a couple of nurses to help me, but over the next day, it was actually election day, I probably paid about 3 or 4 home visits in the day, and probably at about 8 o'clock that night, I went around and we decided that we actually had to up the dosage because she was very rattly and it was very distressing in that she couldn't swallow, so she couldn't actually clear. She couldn't swallow, she couldn't cough, she couldn't clear. And I set things up for her, and as I was finishing, I'd probably been there for, I don't know, half an hour, I leant down to kiss her goodbye, and she grabbed my hand, and she quickly got her pencil and paper, and she wrote down, "No wonder you were GP of the Year." And that's my story.